dead air. I used to think the graveyard shift at the local AM station was the safest place in town. Locked booth, bulletproof glass, a wall of a sliders I pretended had made me important. Midnight to 5 a.m. is mostly weather, farm reports, and songs old enough to know your parents. I'm 25, a fill-in board op, who likes the way the red on air sign warms the room. The manager told me the only real rule, no dead air. If silence hits the transmitter longer than 8 seconds, the system calls her phone and mine like we just set off a fire alarm. It was a Tuesday, in February, wind sharpening itself on the corners of the building. The parking lot was empty, except for my Civic and the station van, with our mascot peeling off the side. I buzzed in, said hi to the night guy from the FM station across the hall, and slid into Studio B with my coffee and a playlist of safe, sleepy country. At 12:19 a.m., I cued the forecast, faded the music, hit the stinger. My voice came out smooth from the headphones, warmer than I feel in real life. 28 degrees across the valley, light snow after 3. Here's Jackson with the sound cut, not my mic, the room, the hum gone, the HVAC hush gone, even the little coil whine that hides in fluorescent bulbs gone. It lasted maybe 2 seconds, like the building blinked. Then everything came back, and the song continued mid-word, and the red silence alert on my screen flashed once and went blank. The manager's phone would have buzzed if we'd crossed 8 seconds. We didn't. I told myself it was nothing. I even smiled for the glass, because that's what you do at a microphone. Pretend the world is listening, and fine. At 12:41, the request line rang. Nobody calls that line anymore, unless they're drunk or lonely. I hit record because we store calls for promo bits and said, "You're on with KBTY Nights," Static answered. Not the normal kind. It sounded like someone breathing through a mouthful of water, while a fan spun in a different room. Then a voice, low and careful, like each word was being lowered into place by hand. "Don't go. Quiet." "Sir?" I said, playing along because that felt like the job. "What's your name?" The line clicked. The timer said 11 seconds. The recording saved as unknown 1241 wave. I marked it with a red flag I never use and put the next song up a little louder than necessary. The hallway lights outside the glass flickered. Could have been the motion sensor. We keep them low at night, but the control room lights aren't on a sensor, and the on AR sign dimmed and brightened like a fish gill from the corner of my eye. The window between Studio B and the empty Studio A felt like a mirror where you are sure something will move when you look away. I kept my eyes on sliders, like a pilot who doesn't trust clouds. At 1:06, the system stuttered. I saw the clock hiccup, then correct. The automation skipped the ad break and rolled a track that wasn't T on my list. An old public service announcement about keeping a battery radio for emergencies. I texted the manager, "Automation's buggy. Minor blip. All good." She didn't answer. I watched the FM guy through his window. He swiveled in his chair and gave me a thumbs up, like he felt the weird too, and wanted to break it with a gesture. At 1:23, the door to the hallway pushed inward against the latch and stopped. It's a heavy door. It doesn't do that. On a draft, I swiveled so fast, I knocked my knee on the rack. No one in the window. No feet under the door. I stood, heart banging against the headset, and pressed the latch. The door gave like it always does. Lazy air licking my ankles. Empty hall. Vending machine light pooling on carpet. Coffee smell turned somehow sweet and wrong. like the pot had cooked itself into syrup. When I sat back down, a new email pinged into my inbox. No sender, no subject. The preview showed a single line, "Don't go quiet." I opened it, because of course I did. The clock in the corner of the email wasn't our time. It said 3:13 a.m. I checked my wall clock, 1:27. I deleted it and then emptied the trash. Like that would unsend whatever it already had. The request line rang again. I didn't say hello right away. I recorded. "KBTY Nights," I whispered, which felt like inviting something. The same water-heavy breath, the same slow machine of a voice. Closer, near enough that I heard a mouth click. "Keep talking. What do you want me to say?" I kept my voice up, because dead air is the job's only sin. "Anything." A pause. "Not numbers." "Numbers?" I looked at the board clock again. The colon between minutes and seconds pulsed like a heartbeat. "Okay, no numbers." I said the names of the towns we cover. I said the color of the couch in the lobby. I said the mascot's name. The line clicked again at 11 seconds, like it had rules it obeyed. Something ticked in Studio A, on the far side of the glass. A metronome. We don't own a metronome. Then 2 knocks on that glass. Soft, polite, on the inside of the empty room. I stood. The chair squeaked too loud, and then kept squeaking a second after I stopped moving, like the noise needed to finish what it started. I leaned into the glass, cupped my hands around my face to kill the reflections, and saw my own outline under the red light. Behind my shoulder, in the reflection, the on-air sign glowed in the shape of a palm, 5 long ovals, and a smeared heel. I turned around. The sign was just a sign. In the reflection, the hand faded like breath on a mirror. At 2:04, the FM guy knocked on my door. I let him in because I didn't want to be the only breathing thing in a building that had decided to practice holding its breath. "You getting hits?" he asked, eyes on my board. "Glitches," I said. He watched my meters, ride up and down as if they were a second hand. "That PSA rolled by itself," I added, because I wanted him to tell me there was an explanation. He didn't. He leaned to the glass to peer into Studio A. "You ever notice the way that room feels full when it's empty?" he said, like a person asking if you hear the same thunder. He does. Then he grinned to break it, walked back to his booth, and left me with the gill-breathing sign and my coffee gone cold. At 2:31, the automation failed outright. The next track loaded, title and all, and then the waveform froze on a single perfect line. Dead air. 1 second. 2. 3. I slammed a stager, cranked my mic, and started talking like my life was a rope. I had to climb, about nothing about the shape of a cloud that wasn't there, about how some people leave their porch lights on just to be neighbors to strangers they'll never meet. The silence. Alert banner on the screen went yellow, then green, as my voice filled it. In my headphones, under me, I heard the water breath return, quiet, content, as if whatever had been waiting leaned its head against the transmitter and listened. "Keep talking," the request line whispered in my ear, without ringing, and I did. I told a story about the first record I bought, how the sleeve smelled like a school library. I told the names of the streets from my childhood. I didn't say numbers. When I paused to breathe, something tapped twice on the glass, and my board lights pricked brighter, like applause from the booth we don't staff. At 4:58, the sky over the parking lot began to blue, like a bruise healing. The automation unfroze on its own, as if someone took their finger off a stop button I couldn't see. The email from no sender reappeared in my trash, even though I had emptied it. because some things return when they feel like it. The manager texted at 5:03 like she always does. Smooth night? I wrote fine, and meant I didn't go quiet. I quit 2 months later for a podcast gig where silence is an edit, not a sin. The station sent me a mug. The red on air, stamped on the side flakes under hot water. I still get calls at 1:41, 2:31, and once, 3:13. No number. 11 seconds. A mouth too close to a wire. Don't go quiet. Keep talking. Some nights I do. I sit up, phone against my ear, and tell an empty line what the room smells like, and where the clock S: sits, and how the wind scuffs the eaves. I don't say numbers. I don't let the air die. And when my apartment goes suddenly, impossibly still, the fridge motor pausing mid-purr, the heater forgetting its own name, even the street outside holding its breath, I clear my throat, and I keep talking until the hum returns. If I stop, I think something on the other side of the glass will remember how to knock, and this time it won't be polite.
If you survived this far, leave your like to prove you are not afraid.